Kenny here with Gardening Simplified. It's September 3rd, and it seems like everyone's mind is going towards fall gardening. Let's talk about it. And we're out here in the garden, and it's still warm here. It's like 98, and I say, well, we can't put out or fall crops because it's too hot or it's too dry. Now, it's supposed to rain today. It looks like some kind of clouds are coming up there now. I don't know if it's going to rain or not, but that's not going to matter if you have water available. Now, if you don't have water available, that's a different story. But as far as for me, and some of my crops suffer, some don't, some's doing really well. But for fall crops, there's so many things that can be planted. Right here, we have some little radishes coming up. Now, radish is a quick crop, so if you have a little area that you're worried about putting out your fall crops, but you have a little area where you can seed something in, we'll go ahead and put in some radishes. Or we can go over here, and of course they hadn't started jumping out yet, but we have little onions. We got little onion sets in here, and of course we run the drip. You can see it's a little damp because definitely you're going to have to water, especially if you've got like a compost like mine that it holds moisture down lower, but up top it'll tend to dry off. This over here, you can see it looks dry. This was watered overnight last night, but a lot of it is dried off. Some plants are suffering and aphids get into them, but you have to decide what you're going to plant, and the zone has nothing to do with it. I keep saying that. Don't say I'm in this zone and I'm going to plant, because the zone really doesn't have anything to do with it. The thing that depends on what crops you can plant right now and get a harvest is your first freeze date. So if you take and search your city and your first freeze date, average freeze date, that will let you know how many days you have. Then you can decide which crops you're going to plant. And sometimes you can stretch it. Now I have cucumbers. Now it's pretty late. I always figure average first frost is the middle of November, so that gives me roughly 2.5 months of grow time. And when you start figuring the 75 days, it's very possible. These have been in here for just a little bit, so they've got a start on it, but they got 75 days until they make. Now we can go off in the greenhouse. Now it doesn't matter if you have a greenhouse. It does help sometimes when you have intense sun. But in the greenhouse, we have a few starts that's left over. We have some tomatoes and some cucumbers. But we have our little onions that we put out. Now, some of them's coming up faster than others, but these are our crystal wax that's in here, and then these are leek that's over here, and they're coming up. These were from Safe Seed. We just got to keep them watered. We have 3 other varieties here, and then we have one of the same over here. We have little plants that's coming up. Now, some of these plants aren't doing too well, and it's got to do with the seeds. This is my gypsy broccoli. I'd just soon have it in the ground right now, but I've got 2 seeds that germinated. Now, I have another batch started that I use the rest of my seeds up, and I ordered some new seeds in case they don't. But cilantro, this is my next batch of cilantro. Now, this is what's left of my first batch that I put in the ground. Now, yes, it may be hot and cilantro may bolt, but if you start a few and get them going, keep plenty of water to them, and if you have a spot that doesn't get quite as much sun, then that's a good place to put them. but have another set that's a few weeks behind, and so when they go, these ones will start. Now right now I've got the drip system going in here. I have more cucumbers. I have tomatoes in the ground. Over here I have a little patch of lettuce. And we can go on down here. Now I have two different varieties of cilantro, and these were planted on the 2nd of August. Let's see when these new batch was planted. These were planted on the 27th of August. So they're a little over 3 weeks behind them, but they'll be doing good and getting in the ground, and I should have a continuous batch. Down here we have dill. Now it's still kind of warm for dill, but it's a perfect time to put it in. It's with a little bit of extra shade, it'll really do good, and it should take off just fine. Now other things that you might grow, and I grow a lot of things. I say if they go to seed, I'll give them to the chickens. But I have bok choy. It's coming along real good. I have another batch in my cell trays up there ready to go behind this. I have some Michihili cabbage. It's coming along good. They keep the water, and I'll have to make sure I keep it watered good. You can see where they do have some holes in them. Now a lot of this was done whenever they were in the trays, so the holes look bigger after they're put out. And then I have up here, I have blues, which is a Napa cabbage coming on, and I have some more over here. But those, and carrots, now I'm fixing to start some carrots pretty soon. This is the time. It might take a little bit of more of an effort to get them to germinate. I'll probably go ahead and use my cover method. That, or I might just make sure I come out and water them 2-3 times a day. But back over here to the seeds, we have some cabbage right here, red cabbage. It's slow to take off. And then over here we have some Hilton cabbage. Now this seed didn't germinate good either, and so we'll plant some more of that. But that'll be a good little batch to start out with. And on the end there's the new batch of bok choy. Like I say, if those go to seed, I'll be able to come in with another batch. Over here we have some collards. Collards, this is an excellent time to grow some collards. And as we come down here past the collards, we get into these are early Jersey cabbage, and they might be a little slower to start. This is going to need to get a little more water. It is kind of the wind's starting to blow now. That's going to dry it out more. These will get the drip turned on overnight again, because what I do is I come in here and check, and there is some moisture down there, but there's not enough moisture up top where these plants are. The key to starting your crop now is moisture. Let's go back up here to the top. Here I have mustard and turnips. I have turnips on this side, mustard over here. And I do have two varieties of mustard, but I have about a 6-foot section of the curly leaf mustard. We don't like it as well, but I'll grow just a little bit of it. But we tend to like the broadleaf more. The trick to this, though, I like it best in the spring, but this time of year can be great too, but you need to keep plenty of water. Anytime you stress a green, lettuce, turnips, anything like that, it does two things. One, it sends out some type of signal for the aphids and bugs start coming in. And the other thing is it starts to get bitter. And that's the biggest thing about growing your greens in the heat, is that they will get bitter if you don't keep plenty of water on them. And we'll go over here and we'll see we have some more squash down this way. It's having a tougher time. This is a different soil. Now this has been, the water's been on it, but you can see how the leaves are drooping because they can't get enough moisture. In fact, we lost one plant right there. We're not going to cry about it, but we don't really want them to be drooping like these few plants are, because what happens is that's going to signal the insects. Now I do have a lot of issues with aphids right now, but if you're going to garden, you can say, okay, I'm not going to do it because I've got this problem, that problem, this problem, or you can get out there and you can garden and you can try to adjust for those problems. We've keeping some things alive because they do better in the fall, but we're going to go down here and we have another row of cucumbers down here. They're young, but they still have enough time to make cucumbers unless we have some quick freeze. And what's it going to cost? A little bit of time and a little extra water. As we go down here to the bottom, we have some more rutabagas coming up. We had a spotty germination with the first ones, and these were doing better, but I didn't get down here and water one day. And when they're super young, it doesn't take but one day to take and have your greens die off when they're small plants. As long as you keep plenty of water. See, these were a lot better down here because they were shaded a lot of the day from these pepper plants, and then of course we have the woods right here, so they don't get too much sunlight, and they've germinated good. But you still, like I say, there's a lot of other things I can grow, and there's probably some more that I'll go ahead and start. But don't think because it's hot, and don't go looking at your zone and ask people, I'm in this zone, what can I grow? I hear that so much. The zone is not going to affect, the zone is for your low winter temperature. You need to check your first frost date, average frost date, and that's going to tell you. And if your first average frost date gives you a good amount of time, then go for it. Now, if you're going to plant brassicas like cabbage and broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, I have some cauliflower seed that's germinating now. If you're going to plant those, you need to start your seeds indoors. You can't direct plant your seeds and hope for them to come up like, or rutabagas or something, because they're slower to germinate. The seeds are normally more expensive too. So you want to make sure you get a good germination. Invest in a few small cell trays. You can get them on Amazon, or you can get them at some of your box stores like Walmart usually has a little kit, or Lowe's has kits. And get one of those little kits for start. That's the way I started out with mine. Then I started buying kits as far as by more quantity, because I started planting a whole lot more seeds. You know, I might have 30 trays or more putting out seeds at one time, because I do a market garden. But as far as for your house, you don't need that many trays, and they're reusable. I reuse everything that I have until it's at the point it's not good to reuse. So I hope this gives you a better idea of what you can plant, when you can plant. Get away from listening to these people that don't know what they're talking about. No, the heat's going to get it, this or that. Well, if you're not going to take care of it, if you're going to stick it in the ground and let it go, then you probably need to listen to them, because that's probably the way they're doing it. But as you can see, I have a whole lot of green out in the garden. Still plenty of summer plants. Squash, that's got plenty of time to start you another batch of squash. In fact, the temperatures are hopefully going to start cooling down. You know, we've got below the hundreds, which is good, but pretty soon we should get back down into the 80s here in a couple more weeks, hopefully, to some kind of normal. And don't be disappointed because you went ahead and put your stuff out and you had an early freeze or frost or something that got, say, some of your summer or your warm weather crops. Don't worry about it. Just go on. You know that's going to happen. Some days some years you're going to really do good. Some years you're not going to do so good, and that's just all part of it. But anyway, I thank you for watching. I hope you've got some value out of this. Give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe, hit that bell, and select all so you'll be notified. And enjoy that gardening experience. Get out there and get your hands dirty.